YouTube. It is a Saturday, which means Matt is at home, but he's still in bed. It's like 11 o'clock. I've already cleaned the house. I'm just doing my normal Dettol routine. I go for about a bottle a day. I'm really, really paranoid. So, as you all know, the story with Charlie, he had vaccine reactions, a severe vaccine reaction, which left him hypotonia. And, so he had his first two lots of vaccinations. Well, he had his first lot, had the reaction, and then the doctor persuaded us to have the second lot of vaccinations. But then me and Matt discussed it, and we decided not to have any more. Because we can't really risk him being made more delayed than he already is. We are going to revisit it when he actually reaches his milestones, but at the moment we're so no vaccinations for him. So because he's not vaccinated, I am completely paranoid about germs. So I do Dettol everything in this house. I Dettol the floors, I Dettol the house, I Dettol the doorknobs, I Dettol the bath, I bleach everything. So if any of my friends' kids ever had a cold, I just avoid them because I don't want the worst to happen. I'm not anti-vaccine. This is the thing. People think I'm anti-vaccine, but I'm not. Like my daughter Lilith, she had all the vaccinations that were available. She only had a reaction to the MMR where she was really, really poorly, but other than that, she's been fine. But with Charlie, it's just like one of those adverse reactions. You can't even plan it. Like, me and Matt feel guilty to this day about getting vaccinated, but that's what you do. You have your children, you vaccinate them so they're safe. There is no other thing you do. You don't say, oh, I'm not going to be vaccinated, because that's just stupid. I'm sorry, but it is. Why wouldn't you want to protect your children from these horrible, deadly diseases that could kill them? And so now I'm in this weird limbo fence thing. Lilith is fine to be vaccinated, but Charlie, I worry every day because he isn't vaccinated. I worry about him catching something awful and then it being all my fault if something went horribly wrong. But then if I vaccinate him, I could delay him even more, and he's already an 11-month-old in an 18-month-old body. So I'm kind of sitting on the fence with Charlie. We said we would relook at it when he catches up to his milestones, so we'll have to do that as he's nowhere near his milestones yet. We started using the baby walker, which he's really good at. Yesterday we did from the living room to the kitchen, and he did really well. So I'm really chuffed about that. Today, because it's a Saturday, I'm just cleaning and organising. I've got to go to the post office because I missed a wax delivery yesterday, which is really annoying. Because I was out picking up Lil from nursery, I think. I'm still really tired. I'm having a good decent amount of sleep, but I think it's because Lil's in my bed. I just don't sleep properly, so I just feel exhausted all the time for this last week. So I'm hoping that maybe she'll sleep through tonight and I won't have her in my bed, but the last 2 weeks she's always been in my bed. I think there's something happening, and that's Charlie crying. Probably something Lilith did. So today we're just cleaning, tidying up. It's really sunny outside, so I'm hoping to persuade Matt to go to the park, because Lilith is desperate to go to the park. But it's been such horrible weather, I just didn't want to leave the house. So I'm waiting for my wax delivery. Well, I'm going to have to go to the shop and get it, go to the post office and get it. It's 11 o'clock now, and they shut at 12:30, so I really need to get Matt out of bed to watch the kids while I go. I don't fancy taking 2 children with me, which will make my job twice as hard. So I'm going to go and do that in a minute. My hair's looking pretty funky this morning. I washed it over the side of the bath, and then Lilith had a bath and a shower then a bath. And she's covered Charlie in red lipstick on his hair, so he looks like he's sporting some new do, because he's blonde. It's gone kind of like a purpley colour. Never leave children alone together, especially my two. They get into so much they get into so much trouble, and I can just see when he gets bigger and he starts doing stuff that I'm gonna be outnumbered, and I'm gonna have issues. So yeah, my case on vaccinations is do it. I know there's a lot of people say, oh, there's all this stuff in it and all this stuff, but children have been vaccinated for not hundreds of years. It must be about 100 years. I think the fear of them having a reaction, because it is so, it's in a really like little amount of numbers that actually do have reaction. My brother, this is weird. My youngest brother, had the swine flu vaccination, and then he caught the flu, and then he ended up with narcolepsy, which is a side effect from the swine flu jab. My mum thought she was being all good and getting him all vaccinated and everything, and then he got narcolepsy. It took a year to get diagnosed, or several years I think. At first he kept telling me, I've got brain cancer, I've got brain hemorrhage, like he just kept falling asleep, he kept fitting, he kept like slurring his words like he was drunk. He was only 16 at the time. And one of the doctors at my local hospital told my mum and my stepdad that he was stressed. My mum went absolutely ape shit about it and demanded to go and see the top doctors in London. So he went up to London and he had the sleep clinic, and they diagnosed him with narcolepsy. Basically with narcolepsy he goes into a too deep a sleep, but he doesn't get enough rest. He used to see things, like he was convinced there was a dog outside that kept barking for nights, and there was a man in my mum's house. But now he's on the proper drugs now that probably cost like $1,000 a month, and he can actually function. He passed his sleep study so he can do his driving test. It's a big deal he's only 17, so it's like a life-changing thing just from getting a vaccination. And it's the same with Charlie. Like, I'd have no clue. He was ahead of himself before he had the vaccinations. Like, he was rolling over and stuff at like 2 months, really early, because Lily didn't roll until she was like 5 months old. And then he had the vaccinations, and basically he was like a cabbage, a vegetable. He just laid there for like 6 months, didn't do anything. And I was thinking the worst. I was thinking epilepsy, brain tumour, all those scary things when you Google. So until he is caught up, we were putting vaccinations on the back burner. So I'm always really careful having people over with colds or chickenpox. Oh my god, I'm not letting anyone with chickenpox near my child. So I am very overprotective of Charlie, just because he is special and he does have a disability, even though not many people want to admit that my child is disabled. I think they find that weird. Like, I've only just accepted that my child is disabled. But other people, I was at my local cafe group the other day, and normally I go into my spiel of what happened to Charlie, but this little boy, he was like a year old, he was so cute, and he was walking, and she asked me how old mine was, and I was like 17 months old, and I asked her how hers was, and she said a year old, and I was waiting for the question, why isn't he walking, why isn't he doing this, why isn't he doing that? But for once, I just couldn't be asked to go into the whole story of his vaccine reaction. Like, the mums at my nursery know, and they're really nice and supportive. I love my nursery mums, and my friends know, of course. But it is hard with random strangers who give you that look like, what is wrong with your child? And I don't always feel like having to go into the whole story. So yeah, we're hopefully getting vaccinated. I don't know if anyone else has had a severe vaccination. I did Google it, and it is quite, well, it does link with his first lot of vaccinations, diphtheria, tetanus, polio, those ones. So he must be allergic to something inside the vaccination, but we went to the doctor and the Conquest, which is my local hospital, and he basically said, well, he's not epileptic, so carry on with vaccinations. And I was like, you haven't really looked at him properly. And I'm going to have to cut this short because Charlie's now whining at me. I hope everyone has a great Saturday. Bye.